26 has very often been interpreted in the courts, very often hand in hand with 25. And therefore, not much attention gets paid to 26. There is only one aspect of 26 that is relevant, and that is where I would sort of raise the issue. 26, interestingly, is a fundamental right made available to a religious denomination. It is very important, and therefore courts get into who has this fundamental right. So it goes, you look at who is a religious denomination. Courts have looked at the Oxford Dictionary definition, which is basically English. Oxford Dictionary comes under, guys who write the Oxford Dictionary and sort of articulate it are Christian in their orientation. Look at Christianity, they have got very specific denominations: Anglican Church, Methodist Church, X Church, Y Church. So they are those denominations are very clear.
Within Christianity.
Right. And people that come from that denomination very often go to that specific church only.
Yeah.
Now this right, which is 26, which we have sort of again got from the European thing, is that this is a right of a practitioner with regard to their particular practices, their institution, their religious institution. So in a European sense and the Oxford Dictionary sense, it is possible to have very clear denominations. So that's what has been brought here. So it is written in those terms.
Yeah.
Now Constitutional Assembly debates have an interesting, it's a small debate, but somebody raised the question as what denominations for the Hindus? We are all over the place. So I forget the precise language in the Constitution. It was therefore after the debate they rewrote or re-articulated 26 to say any section thereof, any religious denomination or section thereof, some language to that extent, which basically says that, which is reacting. They wrote it like that, but it's a reaction to the truth of the Hindus. Now, what is the truth of the Hindus? How many of us come from any specific religious denomination? Now, I would say, I will expand this by saying that the basis of the fact that it works in the 50s, 60s, 70s, etc., in terms of looking at religious denomination and siloed Oxford Dictionary manner worked. I did not say works, but worked in the past.
Yeah.
Question is, should it work? And here is my point. 26 is a fundamental right. Think of any fundamental right that exists. The right to free speech, etc. Fundamental rights are available to citizens or people. This is the only right that is expressly available to a denomination. All right, you might have certain kinds of fundamental rights or sub-fundamental rights available to caste communities, etc., in terms of reservation. So there are very demarcations. So yes, those rights are available there. I would say, but this is a far-reaching right. So religious denomination. Look at the Hindus. Most of us, think of me. My mother is a Brahmin. My father is either not from the Varna system, or if you put him in the force-fit him in the Varna system, you would call him a Shudra, a common man. I have no right under 26 because I do not, by definition, belong to a religious denomination. I cannot.
Okay.
26 as a right has disappeared for me.
Why do you say?
Because I am not from a religious denomination.
No, but you are belonging because, okay.
Which religious? My mother has a right with regard to the Chitrapur Mutt.
Okay.
My father may have a right, though it's not, I mean, he's from the Thia community in northern Kerala.
Okay.
My father may have a right, though the Thia community has no mutt kind of institution, has no specific temples. But they will have some kind of practices.
Yeah.
I can't think of a certain that is very definite.
One
of the
practice
Thiyas.
which is definitively associated with the Thia community, for example, that does not exist. So
does not exist, and 26 as a right is with regard to the religious institution. So that there is no particular temple dedicated to the Thiyas. So for that whole set of people, though there are, and the question is, should denomination be equated to a jati?
Yeah.
So the Thiyas are a jati. I'll use the North Indian term, it's a jati, a Sanskrit term. So is that how you'll interpret it? So therefore I will say if they are not, then the entire Thiya community has no right under 26. Because I am a child of a mixed marriage, which I would say fall under the Chandala. I clearly am not from any religious denomination. I am neither here nor there. I don't have a right with the Chitrapur Saraswat also. The other interesting thing is the Chitrapur Saraswat is a patriarchal system. The Thiya community is a matriarchal system. So मैं तो दोनों तरफ से मारा गया. I know even property rights have disappeared on both sides. So if you look at 26, people like me have zero right. It's a fundamental right that has been made to disappear from me because you interpret the constitution in a particular manner. Now let's talk about you.
Okay, let's come
Your
to
parents come from the same community, I'm
Yes.
assuming.
Yes.
Do they have any primary temple?
Not at all. Nothing. In fact, my mother is probably more Sikh. If I was born, if my mother was the man, then I probably would have been a Sikh, because that was the tradition of giving the first son as a Sikh. And my father and father's side, grandfather's side was all Arya Samajis. I mean, absolute in disregard of Sikhism and everything else,
So now
Neo-Hindus.
So now let's look at it like this. Father Arya Samaji, you can say religious denomination. Denomination. So all the denomination temples, etc.,
Yes.
he would have a right.
Possibly.
Mother, Sikh. So all the Sikh, maybe denomination.
But Sikh and everything else at the same time.
So I'm coming to Sikh, one, I'll get. So all following one, you could say that some aspect of denomination exists.
Well, it depends if the Sikhs would accept her a Hindu as a Sikh.
Now the question is, she also goes to temples.
Yes.
Sikhs also go to temples. Rahul Dewan is anyway somewhat like my situation. You cannot force fit yourself into anyone. So you also have no right under 26. Now let's assume that you come from, for ease of debate, I will say, let's assume that my mother was a Chitrapur Saraswat and my father was also a Chitrapur Saraswat. So I'm a Chitrapur Saraswat. So I have rights as a religious denomination with regard to the Shirali Mutt.
Yeah.
Shirali Mutt is a Shaivite Mutt, mostly. So I'm a Devi Upasak. I have a relationship with a certain Devi, not with the deity in Shirali. You are now telling me, constitutionally, that I have a right to protect an institution and a deity that I have no relationship with, but I cannot seek protection vis-a-vis a deity and an institution or a temple that I do have a relationship with.
You've just given me a very powerful snippet.
So that right you have made disappear. I cannot protect my relationship with my Devi.
Yeah.
26 is meant to protect your relationship with your religious practice. By reading 26 in a particular manner, by interpreting religious denomination in a particular manner, you have made this disappear for me. Now think of the vast majority of Hindus. In a household, one person will have a relationship with one deity, another with no deity, third with the third deity, fourth with the fourth deity. None of them can be. So now what you are saying is, none of them have the right under 26. So to be under 26, you must be under a denomination. Think of modern India. We are now encouraging cross-community marriages. So actually, you are making the right under 26 disappear by giving it such an medieval interpretation. We need to look at Article 26 in the context of the religious practices in India, not necessarily the Hindus. Let's say my one parent is a Muslim, one is a Hindu, then I have no right under 26. Are you saying that a fundamental right will cease to exist for me? Or are you saying that I cannot have a relationship with a certain deity which the Constitution of India will refuse to protect because my parents do not come from the same community and they are incapable of being defined as a denomination? The reality of India is that we are increasingly becoming more homogeneous. We are becoming a mixed society. Article 26 cannot be left as giving right only to the pure blood, that it disappears for the mixed blood. Article 26 is meant to be, as a fundamental right, exist for every person in India. The way you have interpreted 26 today, or religious denomination as that phrase today, is that you have gotten rid of that right for a vast majority of the Hindus of this country.